The Galactic Council sat in their grand chamber, filled with pride. They had just received news about an old warship drifting near one of their territories. To them, it was just a rusty relic floating in space with no threat at all. The aliens in the room laughed at the thought of such an ancient ship. They joked about how primitive and outdated it must be. They assumed it belonged to some long-dead race and had no real purpose anymore. But their smiles quickly faded when they received a new report. The ship wasn't just some old piece of junk. It was active, and worse, it belonged to humans. The room fell silent. A cold chill ran through the room as the council members exchanged nervous glances. Humans? How could this ship, which looked like it had been floating in space for thousands of years, belong to humans? The humans were a small and strange race, barely worth noticing. The council had always thought humans were weak. They lived on a small planet called Earth, far away from the center of the galaxy. Their technology was not as advanced as many of the older races. So why did they have such a massive ancient warship? A holographic image of the warship appeared in the center of the room. It was huge, much bigger than any of the council's ships. The design was sleek, with dark metal that seemed to absorb the light around it. It looked like it had been built for one thing: destruction. The council members studied the image, trying to figure out how such a ship could belong to humans. "This can't be right," one alien said, shaking his head. "Humans don't have ships like this. They're too young, too inexperienced. This must be a mistake." But the report was clear. The ship was of human origin, and it wasn't just some old, powerless relic. It was active. The council's scanners had picked up energy signals coming from the ship. Its engines were still functional, and its weapon systems were intact. This ship was far more dangerous than they had first thought. "We need more information," the council leader said, his voice tense. "Send out a team to investigate. We need to know what this ship is capable of. If it really is human, we may have a bigger problem than we thought." The council quickly sent a team of scouts to the ship. As they approached the massive warship, they felt the weight of its presence. The ship was silent like a sleeping giant, but there was a feeling of danger in the air, as if the ship was watching them, waiting for the right moment to wake up. The scouts reported back to the council with even more troubling news. The ship's technology was far more advanced than anything the council had ever seen. Its weapons were fully operational and unlike anything in the galaxy. The ship's defenses were strong, and its AI system was still online. This warship, though old, was very much alive. Back in the council chamber, the mood shifted from amusement to fear. The leaders of the council sat quietly, their earlier laughter gone. They had underestimated the humans. If this was just one human warship, how many more did they have? And what would happen if the humans decided to use them? "Should we open communication with them?" one of the leaders asked nervously. "Maybe we can talk to them, make peace before it's too late." "Peace?" another leader scoffed. "We're the Galactic Council. We have the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. We don't need peace. We'll take the ship by force if we have to." But deep down, even the bravest members of the council were worried. They didn't know how powerful this ship was or what the humans were planning. The old warship, once laughed at, now held the entire council in fear. As the council debated what to do next, the warship remained silent in space. But it was no longer just a relic. It was a human warship, and it had awakened. And now the galaxy would have to face whatever was coming next. While the Galactic Council argued over the mysterious warship far away on a distant planet, humans were already a step ahead. Hidden deep within the galaxy, a group of humans had been silently watching everything unfold. These weren't ordinary humans. They were part of an ancient defense force known only to a few on Earth. For centuries, they had remained hidden, scattered across the stars, waiting for the right time to act. This group, known as the Watchers, had one mission: to protect humanity from threats beyond Earth. They were well prepared for this moment. The humans had always known that one day the Galactic Council would discover the warship. It was part of a plan that had been set in motion long ago. Now the time had come for that plan to unfold. In a secret base built into a distant asteroid, the Watchers gathered around a large screen. The screen showed live footage of the Galactic Council's fleets moving closer to the ancient human warship. The Council's ships were preparing to surround it, believing they could overpower the old vessel. But the humans knew better. The leader of the Watchers, a tall man with sharp eyes named Commander Reed, stood at the front of the room. He watched the screen closely, his face calm but focused. The council thought they had the upper hand, but they had no idea what they were dealing with. "Are the systems ready?" Commander Reed asked, his voice steady. A technician, seated at a control panel, nodded. "Yes, sir. The warship's AI is fully operational and the weapon systems are online. We've been monitoring the situation closely." "The council doesn't know what's coming." Reed gave a slight smile. "Good. Let them think they have control. They'll soon learn that humanity isn't as weak as they believe." The Watchers had been preparing for this moment for centuries. The ancient warship named the Guardian was one of humanity's greatest secrets. It had been built long ago, during a time when humans had advanced far beyond what most of the galaxy knew. But after a terrible war, humanity had retreated to Earth, hiding their true strength from the rest of the universe. They left behind only a few relics of their past, and the Guardian was the most powerful of them all. The plan was simple: allow the Council to find the warship, but only when humanity was ready to reveal it. The Watchers had placed agents within the Galactic Council, feeding them just enough information to lead them to the Guardian. Now that the Council had taken the bait, it was time for the next phase of the plan. "Send the activation code," Reed ordered. The technician typed quickly on his console. A few moments later, a signal was sent to the ancient warship. The warship, which had been quiet and still for so long, began to stir. Its systems came to life, and deep within its core, the AI awakened. Lights flickered on, and a low hum filled the empty corridors. The Guardian was waking up. The Galactic Council, still thinking the ship was an easy target, had no idea what was about to happen. As their fleets closed in on the warship, they began to detect strange energy readings. The Council's ships scanned the area, trying to figure out what was going on. Suddenly, the Guardian's shields activated, glowing with a bright blue light. In the Council's command center, alarms blared as the readings became more intense. The Council leaders looked at each other in confusion and fear. They had underestimated the ship, and now they were in danger. Back at the Watchers' base, Commander Reed watched calmly as the events unfolded. Everything was going according to plan. The humans would not strike first, but they were ready for whatever came next. The Galactic Council had made the first move, and now humanity was prepared to respond. "Prepare for Phase 2, Reed said quietly. "The galaxy will soon remember who we are." As the human warship fully activated, the Galactic Council realized too late that they were facing something far more powerful than they had ever imagined. And the Watchers, hidden and patient, had been waiting for this moment all along. The Galactic Council was in full panic mode. What they thought was a rusty ancient ship had turned out to be something far more dangerous. As the human warship, the Guardian, powered up, its shields glowed bright blue, and strange energy readings poured into the Council's systems. The Council, once so confident, was now filled with fear and confusion. In response, the Council quickly ordered its fleets to move. Across the galaxy, alien warships began to mobilize. The Council's top generals, who had once laughed at the sight of the old ship, now scrambled to organize their forces. The threat was real, and they knew they had to act fast. In orbit around the Council's capital planet, massive fleets of alien ships assembled. Ships of all shapes and sizes, from small, nimble fighters to massive destroyers, prepared for battle. Each race within the Galactic Council had sent their best warships, believing that together they could overwhelm the Guardian with sheer numbers. Admiral Zorath, the leader of the Council's military, stood on the bridge of his flagship. His reptilian eyes narrowed as he stared at the holographic display of the human warship. He had never seen anything like it. It didn't match any known design in the galaxy. It was sleek, dark, and ancient, but somehow far more advanced than any ship in the Council's fleet. "Prepare the fleets for battle," Admiral Zorath growled, his deep voice echoing through the command deck. "We cannot let this human warship escape. If we allow it to roam free, it will threaten the entire galaxy." His officers nodded and began issuing orders to the fleets. Thousands of alien warships surged forward, their engines burning bright as they headed straight for the Guardian. Zorath believed that no matter how powerful the human ship was, the Council's combined forces could crush it with sheer numbers. But deep down, a part of him wasn't so sure. There was something unsettling about this human warship. It had been quiet for so long, and now, out of nowhere, it had powered up. The timing felt too perfect, almost as if the humans had planned this. But Zorath shook off the thought. He couldn't allow fear to cloud his judgment. As the alien fleets approached the Guardian, their sensors picked up something strange. The human ship, which had been floating quietly, was now emitting a low hum. It wasn't attacking, but it wasn't retreating either. It was simply waiting. In the council chamber, the leaders watched the scene unfold on a massive screen. They had gathered their most powerful ships from every corner of the galaxy, but the sight of the Guardian standing alone in the void of space sent a chill down their spines. "Why isn't it attacking?" one of the council members asked nervously. "It's just sitting there like it's waiting for something." The leader of the council, an old and wise alien named Zaltor, frowned. "The humans are planning something. They wouldn't have sent this ship out if they didn't have a plan. We need to be careful." But some of the younger, more aggressive council members disagreed. "Careful? We have the largest fleet in the galaxy. We should destroy that ship before it has a chance to do anything." Zaltor remained silent, his eyes fixed on the screen. He had lived through many wars, and something about this situation felt wrong. The humans had always been quiet, staying on their small planet, but now they had sent out this warship. It was too deliberate, too calculated. Meanwhile, the alien fleets continued to close in on the Guardian. Thousands of ships surrounded it, forming a massive blockade. The Council was ready to strike at any moment. Fighters buzzed around the human ship like angry hornets, scanning for weak points. Inside the human ship, the AI calmly activated more systems. Its weapons powered up, and the ship's shields grew even brighter. The Council's ships detected the energy build up and prepared for an attack. Admiral Zorath stood tall on his bridge, his hands gripping the railing as he gave the final command. "All ships prepare to fire on my mark." The Council's fleets aimed their weapons at the Guardian, ready to unleash a devastating barrage. But just as Zorath opened his mouth to give the order, something unexpected happened. The Guardian moved. It wasn't a quick, jerky movement. It was smooth and precise, as if the ship had been waiting for the perfect moment. In an instant, it shifted position, turning to face the largest part of the Council's fleet. And then, without warning, the human ship fired its first shot. The shot fired by the Guardian wasn't what the Galactic Council expected. It wasn't a powerful, destructive beam aimed to destroy their ships. Instead, a single bright pulse shot through space, passing harmlessly between the Council's fleets. Confusion rippled through the alien commanders as their sensors tried to understand what had just happened. "What was that?" Admiral Zorath growled from his flagship, staring at the holographic display. The human ship hadn't attacked them. It had fired some kind of warning. But why? He felt a knot form in his stomach. The humans were playing a game, and he wasn't sure if the Council could win it. Inside the Guardian, the ancient AI activated a long, dormant system. It had received new instructions from its creators, instructions that had been passed down through secret human channels for centuries. The pulse it fired wasn't an attack, but a message meant for every ship in the galaxy. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the communication channels of every ship in the Council's fleet. It was calm, deep, and unmistakably human. "Attention, Galactic Council. This is the Guardian. You are approaching a restricted human asset. Any attempt to engage this vessel will be met with extreme force. Stand down or face the consequences." The voice sent shivers through the alien commanders. This wasn't how humans were supposed to sound. They were supposed to be weak, primitive, and fearful. But this voice was confident and commanding, as if the humans held all the power in the galaxy. Admiral Zorath's eyes narrowed as he listened to the message. His soldiers exchanged worried glances, unsure of what to do next. The warning was clear, but the Council had never backed down before. Could they afford to do so now? On the Council's homeworld, the leaders sat in stunned silence as the message played on their screens. The leader, Zaltor, leaned forward, his wise old eyes narrowing. He had suspected the humans were hiding something, but he never imagined they possessed such a weapon. "They warned us," one council member whispered, fear creeping into their voice. What if we pushed them too far?" Zaltor remained quiet, deep in thought. The humans had issued a warning, not an attack. They were offering a chance to avoid conflict. But the younger council members, full of pride and arrogance, weren't so easily swayed. "This is just a trick!" one of the younger leaders shouted, slamming his fist on the table. "They're bluffing! We should destroy that ship now before it becomes a real threat." Others in the council nodded, eager to show their strength. They had the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. Why should they back down to a single ship? But Zaltor raised his hand, silencing the room. "We cannot afford to be reckless," Zaltor said calmly. "This is not just an ordinary ship. We don't know what else the humans are capable of. If they have more ships like this one, we could be walking into a trap. The room fell quiet as his words sank in. Even the more aggressive council members knew deep down that Zaltor was right. Humanity had remained hidden for so long, and now that they were showing their strength, the council was unsure how to respond. Back aboard the Guardian, the AI monitored the council's ships closely. It knew the council was deciding whether to attack or retreat. The humans weren't interested in starting a war, but they would not hesitate to defend themselves. The ancient warship systems were ready, its weapons charged, but for now it waited. On the council's flagship, Admiral Zorath was torn. He had spent his entire career fighting for the council, leading their fleets to victory. But this was different. The humans weren't just another enemy to crush. They were something far more dangerous. He turned to his second-in-command, a tall, stern alien named Tora. "Get me a direct line to the council," Zorath ordered. "I need to speak with them now." Tora nodded and quickly set up the communication link. Zorath knew the council wanted to act, but he needed to make them understand the danger they were facing. When the connection was established, Zorath spoke directly to the council leaders. "I suggest we proceed with caution. The humans have made their warning clear. If we provoke them further, we might not be able to stop what comes next." Zaltor listened carefully, nodding in agreement. "We will consider your advice, Admiral. But remember, the council does not retreat lightly." The communication ended, and Zorath stared at the screen, watching as the Guardian hovered in space, still glowing with power. He knew that whatever decision the council made, it would change the fate of the galaxy. The standoff in space grew tense as the Galactic Council faced off against the Guardian. Thousands of alien ships floated in silence, their weapons trained on the ancient human warship. But for the first time, the council members felt doubt creeping into their minds. They had prepared for battle, but this was different. The warning from the humans echoed in their ears, a constant reminder of the danger they faced. In the vast expanse of space, the silence was almost deafening. The stars twinkled, and the dark void seemed to stretch endlessly. Inside the Guardian, the crew of humans stood ready, their eyes fixed on the displays that filled the control room. The ship's AI monitored every movement of the alien fleets, and the humans prepared for the fight they hoped would never come. Captain Sarah Blake, the commander of the Guardian, paced the bridge. She had seen many battles, but this felt different. She could feel the weight of history pressing down on her. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, and she knew that every decision they made could have far-reaching consequences. "Are we ready?" Sarah asked her crew, trying to gauge their confidence. They had trained for this moment, but the reality of facing the Galactic Council was daunting. "Yes, Captain," replied Lieutenant Marcos, his voice steady. "Weapons are charged. Shields are at full strength. We're prepared to defend ourselves." "Good." Sarah nodded, but deep inside she felt a flicker of uncertainty. The Council was powerful and their ships were vast, but they were also untested against the might of humanity. As the minutes ticked by, the tension aboard the Guardian grew. The crew exchanged glances, each one aware that they were at the edge of history. This could be the moment when humanity proved its strength, or its failure. Meanwhile, in the Council's flagship, Admiral Zorath surveyed his forces. The alien fleets remained poised, waiting for the order to strike. But as he stared at the holographic display of the Guardian, he felt a strange sense of hesitation. "Admiral, what are your orders?" Tora asked, sensing Zorath's unease. Zorath shook his head, conflicted. "I don't know, Tora. The humans have issued a warning, and I sense they are ready for a fight. But if we attack without understanding their true capabilities, we risk everything." Tora frowned, crossing her arms. "We can't let them think we are weak. If we back down now, they will see it as a victory. They might attack us later when we least expect it." Zorath nodded, knowing she had a point. The Council could not appear weak. They had built their reputation on strength. But he couldn't shake the feeling that the humans were more than just another enemy. They had hidden their strength for too long, and now that it was revealed, it was unsettling. Back on the Guardian, Sarah was also pondering her next move. The Council was waiting, and it was clear they were hesitant to attack. Perhaps they could use this moment to their advantage. But how could they communicate their intentions without provoking a fight? "AI, can we send another message to the Council?" Sarah asked, her mind racing with possibilities. "Something that shows we don't want to engage unless absolutely necessary." "Yes, Captain," the AI replied. its voice calm and measured. "I can prepare a transmission that clarifies our position." "Do it," Sarah ordered. "Let them know we're willing to negotiate if they are." As the AI prepared the message, Sarah gathered her crew. "Listen up, everyone. I know we're prepared for battle, but I want us to be ready to talk. If there's a chance to avoid conflict, we must take it." Her crew nodded, their expressions a mix of determination and fear. They understood the stakes. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders, and they had to be strong. Meanwhile, the council debated their next move. Zoltor sensed the unease among the leaders, their pride battling with their fear of the unknown. "We must make a decision," he urged, his voice steady. "If we do not act, we risk losing the initiative. But if we attack without understanding the enemy, we could bring doom upon us all." The council members looked at each other, weighing their options. The atmosphere was thick with tension, the silence almost palpable. As the moments passed, the galaxy held its breath. The calm before the battle lingered, a fragile balance between two powerful forces. Humanity was on the brink of proving its worth, while the Galactic Council faced a choice that could alter the course of their history forever. In that stillness, both sides knew they were standing at the edge of a precipice, waiting for the first move that would plunge them into chaos, or perhaps into an unexpected alliance.